Neanderthal ancestors. But until now, researchers didn't know much about how those encounters actually unfolded.
Picture the scene. It's 50,000 years ago, deep in the frozen, rugged mountains of prehistoric Eurasia. Two entirely different species of humans cross paths. On one side, a Neanderthal man, thick-boned, powerfully built, and adapted to the brutal cold. On the other side, a Homo sapiens woman, slender, agile, and part of a pioneering group of modern humans who have just ventured out of Africa. For decades, scientists have known that when these two distinct species met, they didn't just fight. They mated, they had children, and they left a permanent genetic fingerprint in our DNA. If you have heritage from outside of sub-Saharan Africa, you carry roughly 2% Neanderthal DNA in your veins right now. But for a long time, the details of these ancient encounters remained incredibly blurry. Who was mating with whom? Was it violent or was it peaceful? Was it a human man and a Neanderthal woman or the other way around? Now, a groundbreaking new study has finally pierced through the fog of prehistoric time. By looking at a bizarre anomaly in the human genome, scientists have uncovered a distinct, undeniable pattern. When Neanderthals and our species had babies together, the pairings were not random. DNA has just proved that these prehistoric couples overwhelmingly followed a specific dynamic, a Neanderthal father and a modern human mother. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at the incredible new genetic evidence that is completely rewriting the story of human evolution. If you love uncovering the hidden secrets of our ancient past, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and let's dive into the DNA. The mystery of the X chromosome. To understand this massive historical breakthrough, we have to look at a biological mystery that has baffled evolutionary geneticists for over 2 decades, the mystery of the X chromosome. Ever since the Neanderthal genome was first sequenced in 2010, scientists realized that fragments of Neanderthal DNA are scattered all across the modern human genetic code. It affects everything from our immune systems to our skin tone and even our risk for depression. But there is one glaring exception. When scientists look at the modern human X chromosome, there is practically a massive gaping void. Neanderthal ancestry almost never appears there. It is virtually wiped clean. Why would Neanderthal genes be everywhere else in our bodies but completely missing from the X chromosome? For years, the leading scientific theory was based on biological incompatibility. Experts suggested that if a Neanderthal and a Homo sapiens had a child, the male hybrid offspring were likely infertile or suffered from massive health defects. Because of this hybrid doom, nature essentially edited the Neanderthal X chromosome out of our gene pool over thousands of generations. It was a story of genetic failure. But science is always evolving. And recently, an elite team of researchers at the University of Pennsylvania decided to flip the script. Instead of only looking at the DNA of modern humans, they decided to look closely at the X chromosomes of the ancient Neanderthals themselves. What they found completely shattered the old theories and revealed a fascinating story about ancient human romance. The breakthrough discovery. In a landmark study published in the journal Science, researchers analyzed the genomes of 3 ancient Neanderthals from the Altai, Chagirskaya, and Vindija caves. They compared this ancient code to the DNA of modern African populations whose ancestors never encountered Neanderthals. When they zoomed in on the Neanderthal X chromosome, they were met with an absolute shock. While modern humans have almost 0 Neanderthal DNA on their X chromosome, the Neanderthals had massive amounts of modern human DNA on theirs. In fact, up to 62% of the Neanderthal X chromosome was made up of Homo sapiens DNA. Let me explain why this is a massive deal. Because of how genetics work, males inherit 1 X chromosome from their mother and 1 Y chromosome from their father. Females inherit 2 X chromosomes, 1 from each parent. The fact that Neanderthals had an overwhelming amount of human DNA on their X chromosomes, combined with our lack of Neanderthal X DNA, points to a clear mathematical certainty. It proves a massive sex bias in how our ancestors mated. The genetic flow overwhelmingly points in one direction. Neanderthal males were having children with Homo sapiens females, and the offspring of these specific pairings survived, thrived, and successfully passed their genes back into both the Neanderthal and the human populations. The idea that evolution just deleted the Neanderthal X chromosome because of biological failure was wrong. It wasn't a biological glitch. It was behavioral. It was a choice. Of course, when discussing ancient history, scientists also have to account for darker scenarios. The sex bias could theoretically be the result of violent encounters, raiding, or coercion. History is rarely a perfect fairy tale. However, there is a key piece of evidence that suggests these were not just isolated, violent skirmishes. The genetic data shows that this specific mating pattern, Neanderthal men with human women, didn't just happen once. It happened repeatedly, across multiple interbreeding events separated by up to 200,000 years. From the Middle East to the frozen caves of Siberia, whenever and wherever Neanderthals and Homo sapiens met, this same social dynamic played out. This implies a complex, long-standing social behavior. These weren't just random trysts in the wilderness. These were families. These ancient hominins were living together, raising hybrid children, and sharing the brutal challenge of surviving the Ice Age. The intimacy of human history. For a long time, the story of human evolution was taught as a story of conquest. The old narrative was that Homo sapiens left Africa, violently outsmarted the primitive, brutish Neanderthals, and drove them into extinction. But the DNA tells a radically different, much more intimate story. We didn't just conquer the Neanderthals, we embraced them. We brought them into our families, into our camps, and into our bloodlines. The Neanderthals never truly went extinct, they just merged with us. Thanks to the incredible advancements in genetic sequencing, we now know that 50,000 years ago, a Neanderthal man and a human woman changed the course of history. Their prehistoric bond gave our ancestors the crucial genetic boosts they needed to survive deadly pathogens, adapt to freezing climates, and eventually conquer the entire globe. Every time you look in the mirror, you are looking at the legacy of that ancient union. Hit that like button and share this video with a fellow history nerd. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on the incredible stories hidden in our past. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, keep digging for the truth. I'll see you in the next video.